today I have turned my provocation upside down. So I'm going to begin with thanks. I would like to thank the School of Boudicca for not making any money, but pushing me to ask further questions, and my partner for having conversation and similar investigations into and about our world. These are the mountains we passed as we felt an uncomfortable emotion coming away that Monday morning from Genoa and the globalized resistant marches held back in July 2001. I am thankful for these moments that made me, but maybe I should have just fought harder. Today, like Stranger Things, we find ourselves in the world upside down, an underworld with monsters and darkness, a world folding in on itself that we can't find the way out of. But of course, this is not the TV show. This is San Francisco as of 2 weeks ago. We need to find new perspectives, new routes forward, create a solid ground to leap from if we are to make changes. So this is the reading list for this talk. Each book breaches each other, and I look to interweave. Designed for the Pluriverse by Arturo Escobar, very much inspired Sasha Constanza's Choc, Design Justice. And her first chapter you find in Joichi Ito's edited Resisting Reduction. If you put vibrant matter next to object-oriented ontology, you will see them kind of clash and debate and porously push in and out of each other. Shoshana Zuboff's Age of Surveillance Capitalism talks about parasitic systems and mutations of capitalism, whilst Priya Saruka Shabria takes us to this beautiful hypermodern cloning future, and yet weaves it back with ancient Indian storytelling. And finally, Robert McFarlane's Understory links with Grain Vapor Ray, where multiple voices back from 2015 tells us about the textures of the Anthropocene. Fit that with Carlo Rovelli's Reality is Not What It Seems, who talks about quantum gravitational theory. In these books, I begin to find clues that confirm through these readings are pointing towards my thoughts, ideas that I seemed unable to articulate in practice or text. I feel the minerality of my bones, the metal of my blood, and the electricity of my neurons, a future flesh and invisible skin of penumbra, a cytoplasmically streaming, flexible, fluctuating skin, a spin foam quantum texture, a sharp lens attaches to me, assisting me to see better, act better with others far from me, offering thinking I can feel responsible to listen, begin to understand and act with. Sasha Constanza Choc says there is a need to move past current globalized systems that is spiraling rapidly towards ecological collapse. So what have we learned? Maybe that we haven't learned or listened enough. Listen to the hidden or invisible histories, lived experiences of people, work, world's voices across interrelated crises about race, gender, class, climate, energy, poverty, and migration. However smart we are in 2021, however much wealth is reportedly made even during a lockdown, we don't appear to have rapid response. We don't appear to commune our best thinking. What do we know that we still have much to understand and know? The material that holds us, anchors all structures, and yet we don't understand it, is termed dark matter. It is only 5% of the universe that is matter we know. Touch makes us and we make with it. And yet within this mere 5%, we excavate, mine, and fill the planet with our excretions. The lived environment gives us the lived experience. Solastalgia, a form of psychic or existential distress caused by environmental change. This term was created by Glenn Albrecht nearly 20 years ago to people's response to their lived environment in Australia. They knew the coal mines were the source of their distress, but they had a difficult time describing. He states it was if they were experiencing something akin to homesickness, but none of them had left home. Today, there are many, many solastalgic communities. Bjornar Nicholson from the Lofoten archipelagos of Finland met Robert McFarlane. Bjornar knows the underland of the sea. He is an environmental activist against the degradation of further oil drilling off the shelf of Norway. Oil as data is as gold and has supported much of the modernity of our times. But as Bjornar says, when man has become so crazy, he is willing to offer his food in order to get more rich. Well, Bjornar, after 6 months of intensive activism, broke down. He tells Macfarlane, with my boots in the sea, my front turned to the people on the shore, fighting against mankind, and with the edge waiting to claim me. This was the image that surfaced from my subconscious at that time. Activism is an essential act. We see Greenpeace throwing extra large granite rocks into the seas at Dogger Banks, Tsitsi Dangaremba in Zimbabwe, Veronica, Svetlana, and Maria in Belarus, all protesting against the corruption of systems, to name but a few. Laura Carrick-Franson joined Extinct Rebellion in her final year. Erica So asked through her work, please don't remove my rights, don't remove my opinion, don't remove my identity. So to the virtual escape, multiple books were published over the last few years discussing the moral position and exponentiality of artificial intelligence, where Shoshana Zuboff clearly outlines the systems. Throughout all reading, we pass over politics, regulation, humanity, philosophy, and culpability, but less is discussed about the future physicalization of self, whether in the virtual space or intertwined and augmented back into the real. I ask, are we the host for the data as a virus? Or will tech become a tool to assist to know better, act better, design better, and be better? A student said to me recently, they felt that our only material is data. We live in an on-demand society where the time it takes us to think, consider, is slower than the augmented trading algorithms used to gain financial power, but then go on to own more of our own data. Here, Catherine Hales talks about non-consciousness. She shows you consciousness happens at 500 milliseconds, non-consciousness 200 to 300 milliseconds. Trading algorithms trade at 5 milliseconds. So how do we debate the ethics of our data selves? And what are the experience of beauty and the emotion of when our bodies truly return to each other? If we can change our rituals or habits or language, can fashion offer a new beautiful dimension that expresses new experiences, new emotions about our identities with new imbued values? Cecil Karnskog states, society is taking small steps forward in the right direction. The thing to be aware of is that this moment of inclusion doesn't become a trend because it is the solution. We have an opportunity and a responsibility to pave the way for future generations to come. She states we must keep having the social debate and discussion about the importance of diversity and inclusivity. Action makes for change. Marcella Baltaretti sees their work as a therapeutic journey situated at the intersection of post-genderism and transhumanism. The starting point was given by their own experiences of depression and gender dysphoria, where they started imagining an alternative reality in which they wouldn't feel limited by any of these physical or mental constraints, a re-embodiment and re-worlding where they would have the freedom and control to design their own body and identity. So I ask that we look to new valued aesthetics. What is going to be the aesthetic of post-commercial fashion? What keeps me alive is how much more I have to learn. I feel humbled with how little I know, disappointed with how little I have fought, and sometimes exhausted with how much I have tried and still have to know and do. Janaya Future Khan on Girl Talks reminds us with this resounding statement, is this the best we can do? So I end with my introduction. A single strand of coded protein packed in a fatty shell, so small that it's almost immune to gravity, is changing humanity as we know it. We are multiplying, continuing to create an industrialized, globalized world based about power and ownership, rather than a global world that in 21 learns, listens, and connects using local systems over industrialized systems to answer the very connected world of Earth, energy, and ourselves. Do we design better or refuse to design at all? What is the affordance that fashion design is the answer for. For all our smarts, bravery, and community, exhausted by repeat and slow response, the loops from Gaia theory to Naomi Klein to a documentary on Misguided, we seem to still have it also wrong. So I repeat Janaya Future-Khan's provocation, as this stained me, and I don't have words better than hers. Is this the best we can do? Today, this year, has to be one we mark in history as a level of human endeavor to establish what we know to be true, to be heard and acted upon, to find the edge of the darkness, but sense we can achieve deep beauty. Finally, I just want to talk about desire. Desire is a key part of fashion as an industry and an emotion that creates many of our issues. And we know that when we desire, our brain lights up, our synapses look like fireworks. So the business and industry is it cleverly playing with our very chemical cells. I leave you with Hannah Arendt's question, and maybe we can see in the answer a simple word to a human route forward. She asks, do you know the difference between love and desire? When you desire strawberries, you eat them. When you love strawberries, you plant them. Stay gold, be buffalo. Thank you.